guys, this is Carrie with Fullerton Professional Organizing. With this podcast, we help people declutter their faith, their home, and their business. And today we have a guest, and I'm going to go ahead and let her introduce herself and tell us what she does.
Well, thank you. I'm delighted to be here today. I am Emily Schwartz. I am the owner and founder of Wholehearted Health with Emily. I am a daughter of the King. I am a wife to my husband, Mr. Joe. We just celebrated our 8th anniversary. Fun fact about that, he carries this tradition. He saw how I loved that my grandpa did this for my grandma. Every year of marriage is another rose. So their first anniversary, one rose. 50th wedding anniversary, 50 roses. Pricey
Wow.
fast, right? Yeah. So I still have, it was about 2 weeks ago that he got me the roses, and those, there are 7 of them. One of them I had to press down, but there are still 7 roses 2 weeks later. So that's just an amazing thing,
That
right?
is lovely. I love that. I love having, when you get married, that you create traditions together. My husband and I's tradition that we've had to quit, but we would go out to breakfast every Saturday morning. But because of diabetes, there was a point where we had to we had to start cutting some things out and eating a little bit healthier, and that was the only reason. But yeah, traditions in marriage is really nice and loving and kind,
Yes.
romantic, I guess.
Such
Yeah,
romantic.
with some
Yes. Yes.
romance, right?
Yes. So it's my husband and I, and we have our fur baby, Murphy, who you can probably see the blanket on the bed behind me because usually he is like a human, like laying on top of it. It's his comfy spot. Him, and I'll share a little bit more about our adoption and our journey here as I go. But I help faith-driven women simplify their wellness and build aligned businesses that then allow them to show up fully.
Mm-hmm.
This is for their families. This is for their faith. This is for their future, really having that big why power behind
Hmm.
it. I'll use personalized DNA-based nutrition and business coaching to do that. But really, my goal is to guide women in creating energy, confidence, and income without burnout.
Mm.
Because I've lived that cycle. I
Yeah,
was
the
working hard.
burnout part, that's really, really important.
Yeah, I was doing all the right things. I was exhausted and I really was misaligned at the end of the day. And I realized I couldn't keep sacrificing my health, my
Hmm.
time, and my calling, right? One of my great friends explains my purpose is to glorify God, all things through Him, lift Him up. Our calling can change throughout time. And I just still didn't feel like my calling was aligning because I was constantly trying to do more and be more. And it's
Hmm.
that achievement, perfectionism, control cycle that we
Yes.
can get into. But
Yeah.
my faith led me to a better way. And now, as we grow our family through adoption, I am more passionate than ever about helping other women rise really in all
Mhm.
areas, mind, body, spirit. I believe that God gave us unique gifts, and with the right tools, and we can be empowered and understand, first and foremost, DNA and customized nutrition. I formulate that because that is how we see how we were individually, uniquely made, and there are no bad genes. I get to bring people good news all the time because we get to be
Mhm.
empowered and in control of that. And
Mhm.
when we start to feel better, then we really open the door for what's possible. Bring it on, let's do
Mhm.
it. And we can steward those gifts and create a life that we don't want to escape from. That's my
Right.
goal.
Oh, that's awesome. So what is the name of the wellness company that you work for? Or,
Yes, so I partner with a company and it stands for
oh,
individually
okay.
designed life. Yep. So that's where we'll get genetic blueprints, customized nutrition to go with that. Because
Mhm.
let's face it, if you go into the vitamin store, you're just kind of guessing. And I had no
Yes.
idea that most of my vitamins I actually needed to be taking at night. They weren't being
Oh,
absorbed
yes.
in the morning. So we use an awesome assessment that will help you to see exactly what you need
Mhm.
at the right time of day and not waste money. Because if I showed you the amount of bottles that I had before from what this person had on Pinterest and that person said this week, it was crazy. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
and plus, if you don't take your vitamin D with your calcium, you might as well not take it, right? I don't know if that's how, your company feels about it, but that's something that I have learned over the years. Or if you take them at the wrong time, or if you don't take them as prescribed, like with food, without food, I mean, you could just go to the restroom and eliminate them altogether. They won't even absorb into your body. So you're just spending money on supplements and vitamins that are just coming out and not actually doing anything for you.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like information is always changing and there's so much research to keep
Mm-hmm.
up on. What's this person? The nice thing, I've got a social work background, so anytime there's integrity and research involved, my ears are like, yes, tell me more.
Yeah.
It is based on 10,000 peer-reviewed studies, and our team goes back and checks that monthly because the reality is there are a lot of medical offices that are already using this within their system. We have to make sure that it's accurate and has the integrity.
Yes.
And I want the same thing for my family and for your family, right?
Right.
So the capability to have all of this packaged into one, it's safe, it's protected. That was what changed my life 5 years ago and brought me here. And I'm still the biggest believer, and I share this all the time.
That's awesome. Well, how did you find out about it 5 years ago?
I was going through some health things.
Mm-hmm.
So my hair, it was coming out in clumps. I couldn't even have it down like this. I was so embarrassed because it was so short and
Mm-hmm.
thin. I was overtraining and under eating, and I didn't realize it. And fun fact, a lot of women are under eating and they don't realize it. They're
Mm-hmm.
wanting to lose weight, and so we're just not getting the right things in,
Mm-hmm.
and it's harming our hormones and everything else in our body. And so, what do? I started to seek help. I did a lot of things naturally first. But
Mm-hmm.
then it got to the point where we're like, all right, we got to go and get some professional advice. And so I started to kind of go down the different hole of different specialists and what have you. And we spent thousands of dollars. I got poked with so many needles, and nobody could tell me what to do. If I just have a plan, I am gonna like hit a home run, knock it out of the park. You tell
Right.
me what to do, and I will do it. I'm an achiever. I'm a type A,
Right.
if anybody listening can
Mhm.
relate. But nobody could give me the plan. It
Yes.
was just, oh, well, go see the next. Oh, we're gonna have to test that again. Go see the next person. And finally, I looked at my husband and I said, listen, I have seen these people talking about a completely customized approach
Mm-hmm.
based on a HIPAA compliant assessment and your body's DNA and blueprint. We're gonna do that. That seems so much better. And so from that moment on, everything changed. It took about 90 days for me to see really the full change. And I tell people if you're working with me, it's going to be a journey. You got to commit to me for at least 90 days and
Mm-hmm.
trust me on this process. And I share my story boldly in that.
Mm-hmm.
But I started to see things turn around. My
Mm-hmm.
hair started getting thicker. My hormones were changing for the better. I started to see signs of a regular cycle for women.
Mm-hmm.
And my friends were like, your hair is thicker and you're happier. What changed? What's going
Right.
on? And so then game over, right? I
Yeah.
started sharing and the rest is history.
Oh, okay. All right. If so then what well, just tell me more about the journey. Okay, so you saw a need in your own body, you found that this worked, and now you have started sharing the information with other ladies. And how has the business also changed your life? We know that the product has changed your life, but how has the business changed your life?
Oh, I was so touched to be able to share this story nationally. Just in April, my husband and I were both on stage together. We had 20 minutes
Oh, wow,
to
that's
share
nice.
to share our story. And when the president of our company had asked me, she knows me very well. I'm so thankful that we've got such an awesome group of people
Mhm.
around us. And I said, listen, you all know I can go up there and train on all the nuts and bolts, and here are the things you need to do. I
Mhm.
have business coaching now within my
Right.
practice because I am good at it. I said, but this is not going to be about that. This
Yeah.
is about Emily actually learning how to unwork herself. And she's
Yeah.
like, that is exactly what I want people to hear.
Hmm.
So, really, this business has allowed me to see more of me and who
Mm-hmm.
I am supposed to be. I am learning to just be because here's what I'll tell you. If you are in the direct sales model of business, it is a blessing and a curse to be your own boss,
Hmm.
especially if you're somebody that's type A, if you're
Hmm.
an achiever. It is very easy to lose sight of the things that are so important to you because you get so focused on achievement and helping. When you've got a heart to help other people, you tend to continue to care more for that than the things like your own home, right? So
Hmm.
I actually, about a year and a half ago, kind of hit that rock bottom point. I have been doing this now. I left my job I started 5 years ago.
Right.
This was just kind of a side hustle at that point.
Hmm.
And then about 3 years ago, I was able to walk away from my job that I was in. Is everything perfect? Was it exactly the same amount matching? No, but the Lord had greater plans for me. I
Yeah.
won't go into that whole story. Now, as part of that, I got into a really bad cycle of overworking too. And so when I hired a business coach, because we all need to be coached, right? I have a fitness and nutrition coach. I have a business coach because I want to learn. And I also want to continue to grow myself in the ways that I encourage other people to grow. And I said to her, I really don't need any like new strategies. I need you to help me find me again. And
Hmm.
so we started what I call the Just Be Project. It
Hmm.
started with Emily, no laptop Saturdays. Okay. You have no need to be opening your laptop on a Saturday and working when you can be with your husband. You can be
Yeah.
outside. You don't need to do that. So what started with no laptop Saturdays as, when you've got this big goal in the background, it can be really hard well, I want to know how to do it. What are the nuts and bolts, right? I said, give me a plan. No laptop Saturdays is where it started. And slowly we've added to that. Now at 5 o'clock, this and all of this is shut down. I am a wife. I am Emily. I am present. And I
Yeah.
love that. And
Yes,
so
I'm
do
a
I still
full
have work to
believer.
do? Yes, but
I'm a full believer in that. I believe that I put God first. And if I don't have time to read my Bible every morning, now I'm not talking about, there's going to be occasions, right? We're not talking about perfectionism. We're talking about commitment to read your Bible every day. And if something happens, that's different, but a commitment to God first, a commitment to reading your Bible every day, not because it's something that you check off, right? It's because that is your relationship with Christ. That Bible is what keeps you aligned with Christ. And if you don't have time to be aligned with Christ, then how are you going to depend on him for your business or depend on him for your marriage or your family? So yeah, I'm a full believer. And then and I learned this many, many years ago, probably 26 years ago, when I stayed home with my babies and I was selling Pampered Chef. And I learned back then you put your family on the calendar first, and then, you book your family first, then you book your business. And because if you throw out your family or your relationship with Christ for the business, it just doesn't not work well. Whether or not you're having to work more to maintain it. I heard someone say, if we let Christ build our business, he will continue to build it. If we build our business, we have to continue to build it. So do we want to continue to build our business, or do we want Christ to build it for us? And it really is, it seems hard at first until you see the fruit of letting Christ build your business. And then you're like, okay, I'm depending on you, therefore I'm not going to work after 5. I'm depending on you, therefore I'm not going to work on weekends. Now, of course, that's always going to change and fluctuate, but the sentiment is commitment to depending on Christ to run our business. And I think it does, it's more fruitful.
Can I chime in? I'm over here sweating. My team knows I like sweat when I get excited about
Yeah.
things. So you talk about the Bible, right? Like first thing. Here's the other part of how this business changed my life. My relationship with Christ looked totally different before
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm.
When our founder came out, my very first event, and I actually have him on my podcast sharing this story because it touched me so much. He came out and of course, it was our first time, and he said, if you guys want to stick around, I'm going to introduce you to my best friend. I know you all have dinner plans. You don't have to stay, but if you want to stick around, I'm like, all right, I see the carrot. And I also
Yeah.
know that you're friends with like John C. Maxwell and other great people. So I nudged my husband. I'm like, we are not leaving. We're sticking in these
Yeah.
seats. Who's it going to be? And he introduced us to God. He's like,
Oh.
listen, my best friend is the Lord. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember just laying in my bed and saying, I'm not going to quote this exactly and perfectly, it's his
Oh,
words,
of
but like,
course, yes. Mm-hmm.
God, if you're there, can you just give me a sign? Can you just
Mm-hmm.
talk to me? I'm like, that's how you can talk to God like that?
Mm-hmm.
And we grew up, we went to church, we were people of faith, but I didn't have that feeling
Yeah.
factor. And so I started to dig deeper into that because I saw others in our company that were like so faith forward and led. And I'm like, they're so happy. Like, what am I missing?
Mm-hmm.
Christ, right? So fast forward a little bit now where every morning my Bible, even I was just telling you, I was at Georgia at one of our ladies' retreats this weekend. That Bible comes with me on every trip, even if it's carry on only. That thing comes with me because it is the first thing that I read in the morning. I want truth to hit my eyes before anything else. What did I used to do? Get on social media, go through my messages because, oh, I better get through them before my workout because then, like, the day could get away from me. What?
Mm.
No, Emily, let that truth hit you first. I
Yeah.
have read the whole Bible. I didn't
Yeah.
do it in a year. I wasn't perfect about it, and I loved it. Like you
Exactly.
said, some mornings I read a sentence. Some mornings it's a whole page.
Mhm.
It is what it is.
Yeah. For me, I I admit I had to force myself to read it through in a year the first time because I missed stuff. And there were places that were hard. There were places that my mind wandered. There were, it's not like we skipped through the whole Bible the first time we read it, right? It's a discipline. It's like going to the gym at 4 a.m. Not that you have to read your Bible at 4 a.m. It's just that that's what it's like. It's like a discipline that you haven't disciplined yourself yet. But then when I read it through in a whole year, and mind you, I have been in church my whole life. I went to Bible college, married my husband from Bible college. I was a preacher's kid, and I still had not read the Bible through in a year. Now, I knew a great deal about the Bible, and I knew a great deal about God, and I had a relationship, but I never read it through in a year. But when we had some crises happen in our family, which trials and tribulation are throughout, but we had two really big ones. One I can't really talk about yet because it's not finished, but we lost our first child, and then we had another crisis that really hit us pretty hard. And when people are telling you, hey, it's your faith, hey, it's this, hey, it's this, hey, it's this, it can be really confusing if you have not read the Bible through. It's not about reading it through in a year. It's about what you said. How did you say it? Getting the truth every morning, right? It's about learning the truth and knowing, hey, it's not a perfect faith that brings miracles. It is a relationship with Christ. So we don't need to be failures. We don't need to be perfect. Therefore, we are not failures. God actually knows every mistake we're going to make before we make it, and he still redeems it, you know. So yeah, that's I love that. I love that. But go ahead, it's not about me. But
No, you're
continue telling me about your journey and
the
your.
other thing I was thinking about. This is sitting on my desk right
Mhm.
now. These prayers. I pray over my business now.
Yes.
I pray, and this came from my business coach encouraging me to do this, to
Hmm.
pray over my connections. Because when I was doing it on my own, I felt like, oh man, okay, I got to find new people to reach out to today. It can get really exhausting, and I was getting
Hmm.
frustrated and upset. Now I'm like, God, show me the people. You are greater.
Yes.
Bring to me the people that I am meant to lock arms with, that are going to match my energy, that are going to be somebody that I'm supposed to be with. I can't do this on my own. I
Mhm.
trust you, God. Help me today. It
That's
sits right
awesome.
there, and I pray it every morning. And how things have changed from doing that.
Hmm.
That has been really powerful. So you touched on that before, and I wanted to come back to that and thank you. And I hope women are listening to this and feeling encouraged and inspired, because I know personally, when I can hear stories like this, I
Hmm.
take little tidbits and I'm like, oh, that's good. I'm going to write that down. I want to do that too.
Hmm.
Those are things that become, at the front. I coach up, and I do this myself, others, to have an intention each week in my planner. I set out on Sunday mornings, it takes 15 minutes. What were my 3 wins from the week? Because first of all, it's really hard to celebrate things. It is. It's hard for us to celebrate ourselves and pause and reflect on all that's good, right?
Hmm.
3 wins. Then I write out, what's a repentance prayer? What's something that I want to walk away from, and I really need help in that? And
Hmm.
then also an intention. What over the last week did I read in the Bible that was like, ah, yes, I need more of that in my life?
Hmm.
And so I'm also seeing that in the morning right away. So
Hmm.
having these prayers, and like, this is not something that I did previously, but it's that relationship, that unperfect love that he gives to us when we're willing to receive it.
Yes, yes. And we don't see it until we've read the Bible through. And then the next time you attempt to read the Bible, there is more excitement, because even though you read it through the first time imperfectly, the second you want to read it again because you got so much out of it, even though you read it so imperfectly. And the thing is, I had to keep telling myself, you know what? I'm not going to get everything the first time I read it. What I don't get the first time, I'll get the second time and then the third time, because this is my third year reading it through. So it's not like, many, many, many years ago, I read it through and I've been doing it ever since. It took me many years of being a follower of Christ to actually read the Bible. And sometimes it takes a crisis, which I want to say, don't wait until you're in a crisis to get the truth, because it'll make those trials a lot, I'm not going to say easy, but I think the difference between a follower of Christ and someone that doesn't follow Christ in a crisis is that you have God to go through it with you. You're not immune, to going through trials, but you have someone holding your hand, and you have the truth that keeps you from blaming yourself, because we weren't created to be perfect. We were created to depend on Him as He perfects us. We're becoming Christ-like. We don't just instantly, boom, I'm perfect. We'll never be that until we get to heaven. So I think the Lord has taught me, and I'm sure you too, because we've talked a little bit over Facebook messaging, um, to let go of perfection and just to depend on Him more in
Yeah.
every area, and it's like peeling an onion, right? It's you just take he just keeps peeling that onion and getting to the core.
It's
That's
so
awesome.
true. And
Mhm.
I think about my journey then too, where my husband and I have engaged in some classes at our church, marriage development first last fall. And we shared our testimony on the website for this. Like we weren't in a quote crisis,
Mhm.
but we also felt like there was more for our marriage. And so
Yes.
this was an opportunity to step into that and be around others that have went through hard things, completely different than ours, and very imperfect people. But it
Mhm.
showed us like, wow, we're not alone in this. And so then I continued to want more. And I started with, character development was another class where then we were in separate groups, but we got to come together in the car at night after and just kind of compare and contrast and talk about it. And now I'm continuing on in what's called journey and it's story work. And so the hard, like the pieces of our past, that they do matter. It's so sad to me when people say, it was the past, let it go, or, forget about it, or you should have prayed harder. Like, we're
Mm.
supposed to be in relationship with people and recognize and value and see emotion and hardship and give them dignity for that.
Yeah.
So if you would have told me 10 years ago that on a Tuesday night I would be in church for 2.5 hours with a group of people,
Mhm.
pouring my heart out and listening to them do the same, I would have been like, no, I have bar league volleyball to play. Like, absolutely not. But there's just, and fun is important to have in our lives as well. I'm not saying to not have
Oh,
that, but to
absolutely.
keep the main thing and
Mhm.
see where your heart's at and where you need to grow and lean into that.
Yeah.
Most of my business goals this year, they are not numbers focused. They're
Mhm.
what is God leading me to do next? And I pray that I can be obedient to that and
Yes.
take a step back and realize what that is.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because we're not yeah, it's not that all of these other things are bad. They're just not as important as following Christ because when we follow Christ, that is self-care. When we read our Bible, that is self-care. And it just takes us so much further with if we lean into it like you said. Now, now you mentioned a little bit about adoption. Tell me about that. What is your how has your journey taken you into adoption?
Yeah, it's something that I have always dreamed about. So I know it's non-traditional, but I was the little girl that always wanted to grow my family through adoption. I just never saw myself giving birth. And so my husband and I, we've been together, one of my favorite sayings, we've been together for over a decade now. And when we first started dating, like first date, I was very honest about that with him. And so
That
we
is
had a lot of
that
time of
you felt called to that long time before you were even married.
Yeah,
That's
I've
awesome.
always, since I was a little girl, I've always dreamed about this. And so we talked about it, and I'll tell you, we were married for 5 years before we started the process because we also wanted to just be married a little bit.
Mhm.
And so then when we decided to start the process about 3 years ago, so it's funny because when he's away, fun fact about Emily, I am kind of a wimp. I will not sleep in the house by myself. I think there's, just a lot of my childhood that now kind of explains where that might have come from.
Mhm.
But I think it's fun that I always get a babysitter. I spend more time with other people this way and have fun with it. So he was hunting this weekend and he came back and it was Sunday and we were having a glass of wine for dinner and I'm like, I think I'm ready to start the process. And he's like, let's talk tomorrow. I'm like, I've had like 2 sips of wine. Like I'm good, but okay, we can talk about it later too. It's like I just want to make sure. So we check back in and I'm like, yeah, let's start. And so from then it was about 3 years ago, and we've really just made it a journey. Like as an example, I don't know if people know this, but there's a lot of, and every state is probably a little bit different. Here, we were going through over 18 hours of online education,
Mhm.
along with a lot of in-person. And so we're like, 18 hours. Okay. The Smoky Mountains is about 9 hours away from us. We
Mhm.
could drive there. We'll drive, do all of the listening, enjoy the Smoky Mountains. We're both fortunate where the work that we do, we can create our own schedules, do it wherever. That was another part that spoke to me about this model of work. I loved that. And so we enjoyed our time there. And then on the way back, we listened to the rest of it. That
Yeah.
was a memory. And when we were at our Airbnb in the Smoky Mountains, we shared the news with everybody. Like it was almost kind of like a pregnancy announcement, but like a little bit different of a spin. And
Yeah.
so we've just kind of been able to really educate and help share. It's amazing when you put your story out there, the amount of people that have come back and said, I have always thought about adoption, but I've had no clue where to start. Thank you for sharing. And we can kind of help with that too.
Mhm.
And so we have went through some hardship. Last year, we at this time actually we were matched. We went and flew to Georgia and met with birth mom, and we were matched. Everything was good. We were preparing. His due date was December 28th.
Mhm.
Our whole back there is the nursery. It's all set up. It's ready to go. But there was a disruption, and this does happen quite a bit in the adoption process as well.
Now,
And
did
where
they tell you that ahead of time to prepare your mind, or was it a big shock?
So I will tell you that when we were choosing our agencies, so this was way back like 3 years ago when we kind of
Yes.
started the process, we knew we weren't going to adopt here in our state because we
Mhm.
didn't like the adoption process and laws. And so we were prepared to travel and go.
Yes.
But it took, we were able to interview with a couple different agencies in the other states.
Mhm.
And it was one of our last interviews that they had asked us, you guys didn't ask anything about a disruption. Did you have any questions about our process with that? And we looked at each other, we're like, what's a disruption?
Mhm.
Thank goodness they said something because we
Right.
wouldn't have really known. And so,
Right.
yes, our hearts were prepared at that time then, but
I
we
mean,
didn't
it's
know.
well that you had the disruption, but it's nice that at least they prepared you ahead of time that it is a possibility because that would have been, it's already a letdown, but then to have it be a complete shock and then not know if it'll happen again. Yeah, those are tough,
Yeah.
tough. Well,
Yeah.
continue. Tell me more about how the process unfolded for you.
Uh, well, and the I don't want to say like fun or cool. The interesting, there we go,
Yes.
part about all of that is when it first happened, like when we first truly, she cut off communication with both
Mhm.
us and with the whole adoption team.
Mhm.
And my husband grieved. He was really
Yeah.
sad then. But there was something inside of me that was like, when it gets closer to December 28th, she's going to contact us again. I know it. I just know it because the conversation that we had with her, we will never forget that moment. And that is something that is sacred to us. We have not shared that experience with
Right.
anybody. We probably never will.
Right.
But that moment we said there was our wedding day, and there was
Hmm.
that. It was the coolest thing. My husband cried all night long because he's like, I just never would have imagined this to even be possible. It changed my life. Like,
Hmm.
and me growing up always dreaming this, I had kind of a different lens from it, but I was so happy and it was great. Where he grieved first.
Right.
When we lost communication, he had that hard point, and I just kept you know what? I
Hmm.
still have hope. I really do. And I held on to that.
Right.
And then when it got to be the holidays, then I got really sad and I hit my breaking point. I'm like, we aren't even supposed to be here at Christmas with our families. We're supposed to be there. Like, I had my sad point then.
Yeah, I
So,
think that's how it would have hit me. And then it would have kind of ruined, not, I don't know how much it would have ruined it, but it would have ruined it some for
yeah,
sure. Being the holiday,
yeah,
thinking
right.
we're going to have that. Yeah. So,
So we got to see how we truly are a
yeah.
pair for each other because we support each other so well in that process. And there was another situation after that where we were like kind of that second choice family, I'll say.
Mhm.
Um, our adoption agents were with a couple different agencies and they have our profile book. And so when they feel there's a good match, they'll show, and then we get notified of like, hey, you're kind of like in the top. And sometimes you have an opportunity to then write a letter to mom.
Mm.
So we wrote the letter, and then we were the top two and she ended up choosing the other family. So that was difficult for us too. But in that instance, we
Mhm.
also learned something. Every time we're learning steps, we were both away that weekend when we knew that the letter was being read, like there was something big happening and you're just anxious about it all day,
Yeah.
but you're with other people that not because we don't love them, but there are so many pieces to this. Like we want mom's story to be sacred. We don't want to share that. So there are so many details that are just between the two of us. But yet when you're in separate places with people that don't know all those details, but they're like nervous too, like waiting to get that
Mhm.
call that day and like how do we plan our day around that and what do I do? And we learn that that's just we need to be together on those
Mhm.
days. So everything is like a stepping stone in that process. And it hasn't been easy by
Yeah.
any means, but we've learned a lot about ourselves and we've been able to discover a lot of things that God still had some work to do within the two of us. And so we're starting to
Have
really
you
continue to dive
finally
in.
adopted, or you're still in that process?
We're still in the process. Yep, we're still in the process, but we absolutely love with the first match that we had, we got to know so much better our attorneys that are in that area. And we were actually connected to them from our health and wellness company that we're a part of. Some of our great leaders that are truly just like family to us.
Mhm.
They had shared about their daughter and a connection, and it's them. We were praying for a faith-led agency. We didn't even know that they existed
Yeah.
until we started to share this. And so never underestimate the people that you're connected to and the places that you're put in. There's a reason that you're there.
Wow, that is an awesome story. And I just encourage everybody that's watching this video to pray for them in this journey that they're in. And I look forward to coming back to you on the podcast when you're officially have adopted. Well, now we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit. We've kind of talked about your business journey and your wellness journey and adoption. Now, what are some things that you and your husband do to relax and have fun on the other side of the work and all the things that because that is a lot, it's emotionally draining. I mean, you can be drained emotionally as well. So what do you do to relax and have fun, even if it's just at home?
Yeah, well, I'll talk about my Christmas gift to him the last 2 years. And I'll also talk about our camper. We love to camp. So let's define camping here. We camped in a tent one time with the
Mhm.
dog, and I said,
Mhm.
listen, if we're going to continue this whole camping thing, I'm going to need a camper. I need a place to shower myself. Like, there's just a couple things that I need. I don't need the
Need
full-on
the
RV.
full glamping experience, but we don't want the full camping
Yeah.
experience either.
Yeah, I just need a couple things. So got our camper and we love to take it to just different state parks in our area where we can hike and be outside. And for the two of us, it's very much just a like we can't do anything but relax and just be present when we're here. There's no house to clean, there's no meal prep to be done. Usually we don't have great reception, so there's no work and connection being done. We're able to just be. And we love to go just the two of us. So that's been fun the last couple of summers. We take our camper and run. And then I got really intentional about our relationship and just the time that we're spending together because at night we have dinner together, we love to have conversation together, but also that fun. I'm a very driven person and so fun can be hard for me and that's
Yeah.
hard for our relationship then too. And so I now this is again thanks to my business coach, it's planned dates. So for Christmas we have always just done stocking gifts for each other. We don't buy like huge presents. It's just like fun things that you can fit in a stocking. Like one year he got the flavor of gum that he loves that I get so mad when he takes it out of my purse. I'm like, that is my gum. Get your own pack. That was the flavor that he got the next year. Little goofy things, but I make this Word document for him of planned monthly dates because how this started, there was a list on our fridge of, when you're like out and about with people and having conversation and they tell you about this restaurant or that place, and you're like, oh, I got to write that on my list when I get home. We had this list going and going, and I'm like, I can just plan date nights with all these places we want to try. So that's kind of how it started. And then now we just have fun with it. So
Yeah.
last year it was the year of ice cream for dinner because I am somebody that I chained myself for so long that ice cream is bad. These foods are bad. And I tried to be so perfect with my
Right.
nutrition,
Bread
which
and
that
yeah.
completely ruined me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I never like had ice cream for dinner. So
Yeah.
our monthly dates last year were all the different local ice cream places, and that was literally my dinner. And I felt so cool. And then now this year, it's the year of pizza because
Yeah.
again, we still, every time we've done like delivery, we've done takeout, we've done go to a place, and he's like, "Did you ever think you'd be splitting a pizza with me?" Because normally Emily would be the little good girl. She would order a salad, which really, salad is not the healthy thing. That's what I coach people on now because the
Yeah.
dressings are full of inflammation. There's a lot of like things to watch out for there.
Mhm.
Anyway, I thought I was being healthy before.
Yeah.
Never would have had a pizza. And now I'm like, yes, please, let's do it.
Yeah.
So that is one of our pieces of fun.
Oh, that's it. That's cool. That's cool. I like that. We do have date night every Thursday night. Now, it may not be anything but just going out to eat. It may just that's it. But yeah, we did quit the every Saturday because we were also doing date night and every Saturday. Well, we had to quit a lot of going out to eat. We were going out way too much. So now instead of every Thursday, every Wednesday, every we it's date night on Thursday nights. And it also makes going out to eat a little more special for date night now because it's not ordinary. We were just going out all the time. So I like that. Um,
Do you
all
see
right.
this behind me now? Do you see
Yes.
who's that on the blanket? Yeah, this is normal right here.
Well, mine is usually here on the floor, but I don't know what's gotten into her lately. She's been sleeping a little too much. She's a little too relaxed, but we'll see. She stays on, I mean, she's just been staying on our bed too much lately. So she's getting a little older, but um but now let's also switch gears again because we're kind of at the end of our podcast. So, what is something that I haven't asked you yet that you really wanted everyone to know? And then the last questions are going to be because I always like our audience to know just because we're entrepreneurs or just because I'm an organizer doesn't mean everyone does everything perfectly. So we'll talk about something messy in your life. And it doesn't even have to, it'll be whatever you consider messy. It doesn't even have to be home, business. You can choose your messy and what you're the most proud of. And then we'll talk about all the stuff we're going to put in the description, like how to, contact you if they want to talk and stuff like that. But what is, oh, yeah. What is one thing that you want everyone to know that we have not yet talked about?
Okay, you ready for a fun one?
Mhm.
I love to celebrate, recognize people. You all will see, you'll be invited to my Facebook community where I really love to do that. But birthdays are a big deal to me. So if we are Facebook friends, you are always going to get a message from me wishing you a happy birthday on your birthday.
Mhm.
And fun fact, my birthday is on Halloween, and I'm scared
Oh,
of everything, so I don't match it at all.
oh, well, we'll have to tell you happy birthday on Halloween.
Well, thank you.
That's
We're
awesome.
close. It's September. Well, the
I
other
know
the other part to that
it's not
is
fast.
it is. Yeah. So my birthday, obviously the last day of the month. I just had my golden birthday last year, and ever since I was little, the first of the month we start celebrating. Like it is Emily birthday month. And
Oh,
here's why. I mean, my parents are divorced.
uh-huh.
My mom's parents are divorced. So by the time you get all the birthday parties in with everybody, it truly does feel like a month of celebrating.
Uh-huh.
But as I became an adult, I'm like, well, I am not going to stop that. We're going to keep the whole birthday month celebration. So
Of
I
course.
text my whole family on October 1st and I'm like, guess what day it is? They all know it's coming. So it's a big joke now.
That's good. That's fun. I like that. All right. Well, now, what is something that you consider messy in your life, and what are you the most proud of?
So something that I'll say was messy before, and I'm constantly on the process of cleaning this up because we just
Mhm.
learn and we grow and we go
Yes.
through. Messy being, I started to tiptoe on it before, but I just chained myself to this be perfect. Here are the things we eat. Here are the things we don't eat. And I was so strict about that
Mhm.
that my fun and anything else I would count myself out of, oh, they're having a burger and fries. I could never do that.
Mhm.
That was very messy. And
Mhm.
even then in the week, when I would try to, be perfect during the week, because on the weekend then I'd have some
Perfection.
fun or I'd try to, what I put in my grocery cart now, it's nowhere near that. And I thought I was being healthy, but
Mm.
knowing what I know, there's one peanut butter at the store that I'll touch now. The rest of them, they wouldn't make it in my cart at all. Salad dressing, same thing. So I love to educate people on that of simple swaps where guess what? I'm eating the pizza now. I'm doing the burger and the fun things because consistently I've learned what matches my body's blueprint and I can help
Mhm.
you do the same thing. So, really, always working on cleaning up that mess,
Yeah,
but helping turn that mess into a positive message is what one of
that's,
my great leaders and mentors say.
I love that. Well, in turn, what are you the most proud of? And maybe it's the same thing and you'll elaborate, but what are you the most proud of?
I think I'm the most proud of I say this to my husband a lot, like just what I've been through.
Mhm.
And I say that in the lens specifically of the last 5 years
Mhm.
of being a business owner, because I never would have imagined I would have done something like this. I'm like, oh, like I'm just little Emily, like no way.
Mhm.
But now that I see the freedom that that brings, but also the pieces of me that needed to be worked on, like I shared with my faith journey that were so messy, I'm so proud of my ability to let that part go. And it's a work in progress all at the same
Sure.
time.
Yeah.
But that control piece, the things that I thought were pieces of my story that I should never share, living in fear and shame, being able to surface those and thinking that if I would have continued to be in that mindset of counting myself out, I still would have probably been sitting in that same spot where now I've been able to grow in all of these other areas. And I just kept believing that I could and putting one foot in front of the other. So that's probably what I'm most proud of.
That's awesome. I love that. And that's what this segment is for. I love that I have a podcast that I don't just get to help people declutter their homes. I don't just get to declutter their business, but I can have people on here that we can literally talk about things that will help other people declutter their faith and realize that we're not judging them, we're not shaming them, we're not guilting them. We're telling them we're imperfect, we depend on God, and we are peeling our own layers and we're sharing it with you, the audience, to let the audience know that you can still be an entrepreneur even if you had a messy I don't even want to say messy past. Of course, it's a messy past, but messy past doesn't have to be huge mess either. We are just little messes or big messes, however we want to look at it, letting God just work. That was another thing that the Lord had showed me. If we obey him, we just watch him work. And that's where our yoke is easy and our burdens are light. It's not that we don't have burdens, it's that we put them on his shoulders, and we shoulder it together with our community, our entrepreneur community, our faith community, our woman community, our pod. You know how many, I'm just realizing how many communities we can share our life with. You know, we have our church community, our faith community, our podcast community. There's so many communities, and it's just wonderful to be able to show people that we're all in it together, and it's great. I love it. I love it. All right, now tell everybody, and we will have this in the description. We always do. You know how it works. All YouTubers have it all in the description and the podcast. But Emily's going to share, how to, all the things about how to get in contact with her if you need her.
You are so sweet. Thank you for that. Facebook is really great. That's where I love to build community. We
Yes.
have built an incredible free resource hub. If you're like, what is that peanut butter that she was talking about? Or what's that DNA thing or that joy where they celebrate all the time? This is really that hub where we love to do that. So I will put the link to that. It's our Wholehearted Health with Emily Facebook group. Personally, I'm on both Facebook and Instagram at Emily Schwartz. I love to get direct messages. So if something here impacted you, I love to hear about that and hear how I can cheer you on. And lastly, I do have a website. My husband, bless his soul, he just helped me update it to reflect a little bit more of me and where I'm going and how my business has changed. And so that's just wholeheartedhealthwithemily.com. And my
Awesome.
podcast. I guess that's one more thing too. If you guys love podcasting,
Yeah.
The Wholehearted Truths is the name of my podcast. Okay, now I'm really done, I promise.
No, that's all right. I love it. Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your life with us here on the podcast. I think it is really, really great. I know that you guys are going to enjoy getting to know her, and we will see all of you on the next podcast. Thank you for listening and watching.
Thank you.